writing down an email. So try to list those three questions in a clear way. Question number one, two, three. Make a list so that the person who is at the other end can clearly identify those questions and he can answer them accordingly. Sometimes we get emails which are not clear, and those emails require additional questions to be asked from the sender. And if you send such an email, then it's less likely that you will get a response, because the person at the other end, if he's not clear about the question, he thinks, okay, I'll send an email later on because I have to ask some questions about this. And then a lot of times people forget about that. So uh, if you really want to get an answer to your questions, be very clear in your written communication. And last thing is use formal language. This is also important. Sometimes we see students communicating with their teachers or with other administrative staff uh, using casual language. Like for example, if I give an example of a comparison of casual language and formal language, um, if there is any question and the answer of that question is yes, and you're talking to your senior or your boss, so you may say yes, sir. Uh, and an informal way of saying that yes, you can say yeah, or you can say yups. Or if the answer is no, so informal way of saying that would be noops, right? That's an informal way of communication, and you can use this informal way if you are communicating with your family or friends or in your other social circle. But if you are communicating formally, then you should follow the formal language. And this formal language, or another important thing that just comes to my mind is in different parts of the world, there are different ways of being formal or being respectful. For example, here, when we talk to our seniors, we want to give them respect, we use the word sir. Let's say you are talking to the chairman of our department, and his name is Dr. Khalid Farooq. So you may call him Sir Khalid, okay, or Dr. Khalid Farooq. That's the way of giving respect in our country. Now, this culture of calling somebody sir is basically it originates from the European side, right? In Europe, uh, they have this culture of using this term sir, and we know that Pakistan uh, was under the rule of British Empire, and we have got these terms from them, because a lot of English that we speak, most of it is British English. But in the entire world, that's not the same. For example, if you talk about United States, then if we want to be respectful and we want to give respect to anybody, we don't use the word sir there or big sir. Rather, we call him or her by his or her last name. Like for example, again, if you want to address to the chairman, whose name is Khalid Farooq, so you will call him Dr. Farooq. Dr. Farooq means that's a way of giving respect, that you do not call your seniors or your higher ups or your boss, or your teachers with their first name. You call them with their last name, and then you add their title before that, doctor or whatever. So it varies from culture to culture. So whatever country you are in, you need to you must try to get familiar with the culture, and use your language accordingly. And yes, another example of it, that uh, like once my student told me that he was somewhere from Africa, and he said that we don't call our teachers sir, rather we call them professors. So professor in the name. So it varies, right? It varies from country to country. So we need to learn these things. These are some of the manners of online communication. And there's a small template for the email. Uh, Obviously, you'll write down the name of the email address of the person that you want to reach to. Then your subject line. It's necessary to have a clear subject line in your email so that the person gets a clear idea regarding your message. And one thing, once I was communicating with a student and we had an exchange of emails, like 4 or 5 emails. And every time what he used to do, he used to write down his response in the subject line. Now, and I used to write down the response in the main body of the email. What is the disadvantage of doing that? Every time you write down your response in the subject line and you change the subject, the track of that conversation is not kept because you change the subject, the previous subject is discarded, and when you are sending the next email, like if you exchange 4 or 5 emails, there is no track of the previous communication, so you cannot get an idea that what you were talking about. So never write down your response in the subject line. Always write down your response in the main body of the email. Then you address the person, whoever you want to talk to. If you like, at least you should use the word sir, or if you want to be more polite, you can say dear sir or respectable sir, something like that. And then you add a line, I hope you are doing well, or I hope this email finds you well, something like that. That's another way of being polite. You want to be nice whenever you are communicating, and then you write down or you draft the main body of your email. And at the end there should be a clear signature, like for example here it is best regards, and then I have given the name and roll number, let's say. So if, like I've just given the roll number here as an example. If you are an employee of the company, whatever designation you have, you write down your designation at the bottom. Okay, for example, I write down Dr. Mohammed Mazhar Salim, Assistant Professor, Department of Civil Engineering, UT Lahore, something like that. So these are some of the things that you need to keep in your mind while doing online communication. And I want you guys to practice these etiquettes uh, like during your academic life so that you develop a habit and you know that how to communicate formally. You'll practice it at this stage, and then when you will be working professionally, you will be ready to like communicate with your seniors or higher up, or with your clients. Okay, so these were some of the ethics. Now let me open the team screen. Anybody having any question about this, or your comments or your suggestions? Like, uh, how do you guys communicate with your teachers? And because I'm asking about the teachers, because right now you are not working, most of you might not be working professionally. Uh, so that's why I'm saying with your teachers. Is there anything you think I missed, or anything you don't agree with? Any question or suggestion in the class? Okay, Hassan Subhan, are you there? Hassan? Okay, it seems like Hassan is not there. Jahangir, Jahangir, are you
Yes,
there?
sir.
Okay,
Yes,
so
sir.
Jahangir, okay, ये अब दो yes sir आए हैं. Hassan,
Doni
are you
Jahangir.
Sir,
there?
there are two Jahangir.
Oh, there are two Jahangirs. Okay, this is, I'm trying to, Jahangir, and the last name is Jahangir Shafiq.
Yes, sir. 25 Jahangir Shafiq.
Okay, so Jahangir Shafiq, अभी बताएं, how do you normally communicate with your teachers? Do you send messages, text messages, or emails, or WhatsApp? How do you communicate if you ever have to?
Through email.
Through email. Okay. So, uh, what is your experience that, like, do you normally follow these things, or you do it differently, or anything you want to comment on?
Sir, mostly communicate through email.
Okay. Okay, and yes, one more thing about the emails. Whenever you are communicating on the email and you have to exchange some information back and forth, always uh, do it in the same thread of emails. Like you asked a question and you got an answer, and then let's say you have another query about the same subject. So you use the same thread of email. You reply or respond to the same email so that the other person can get track of it. Okay. All right. So if there are no comments on this or no questions, then let's move on. Okay, after this, I want to discuss a couple of definitions with you because we are because we are talking about professional ethics. So we need to be clear about the basic definitions, a couple of definitions. First definition is of professional. We are studying professional ethics. We know that what do we mean by a professional? So can anybody tell me what do we mean by a professional? Anyone? Any idea? Who is a professional? Okay, guys. As I told you before, that whenever we are in this class meeting, I want to have an interactive session, and I want a response from you guys. And there is no harm in giving wrong answers. There are no negative points of giving wrong answers. So just, I mean, just
Sir,
take
a
the
professional is
initiative.
one who has proficiency in a specific field.
Professional is the one who has proficiency in a specific field. Okay. There are, by the way, there are multiple ways of defining professional. This can be one definition. Fine. Any other definition? Anybody else? Maqsood. Maqsood Bajwa. Are
Yes,
you
sir.
there? Ji Maqsood Saab. Will you please let us know who is a professional? In your opinion, कौन होता है professional?
He is adopting some profession for his living.
Who is adopting some profession for his living? Okay, this might be one answer. Danish Aslam.
Yes, sir.
जी दानिश, आपका क्या ख्याल है प्रोफेशनल के बारे में?
सर मेरे ख्याल में मीन के कोई इंसान किसी चीज के लिए रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी लेता है वो उसका प्रोफेशन होता है.
उसका प्रोफेशनल होता है. Okay. So all these definitions are almost fine, almost correct. As I said before, there are multiple ways of defining a professional. So a professional is a person practicing certain field, and we trust that person, assuming him to be an expert of his field, and then we assign him certain tasks, and we pay him certain charges for his services. So that type of person is a professional. So professional is assumed to be an expert, but again there is some variation. Some professionals might not be that expert of their field. So, but even then, if they are charging for their services, they are considered as professionals. And one definition of professional is that somebody who charges for providing certain services is a professional. And Now, some people might be very might have very good expertise of certain area, but if they charge, then people may say that they are not professionals. And the opposite to professional is immature. Immature is a beginner, and normally does not charge any money, just trying to learn the things. Okay, so that's what a professional is. And then ethics. What do you mean by ethics? Anybody? What do we mean by ethics? Okay. Aniza. Anis? Anis? Aniza Hamid?
Yes, sir.
G. So what do you think? What do you mean by ethics?
So it can be the practices which are adopted by people being in a professional manner and which are according to the manners.
According to the manners. Okay. This is more like definition of professional ethics. That in most simple words, if we just want to define the ethics, so ethics are basically set of standard behaviors that we are supposed to follow, and ethics are not just for professionals. As a human being, we need to we need to have an understanding of ethics, and we should practice ethics in our daily life. So ethics are not only important for professionals, but ethics are important for all of us. And even if we are not professionals, we have other roles in the society. We are a member of the society. We are citizens of this country. We are a member of a family. We are a member of our social circle. So in all these capacities, we have to we need to understand that what are our responsibilities and what are our do's and don'ts, and that set of do's and don'ts, that is termed as ethics. And then the ethics which are particularly important when you are practicing any profession, those are termed as professional ethics. So there are multiple ways, as I said, of defining both the terms, but single definition of both these terms is provided in the slides as well. Okay. Now, as I said before, that we will be trying to explore the need and scope of professional ethics using some case studies. So let's consider some case studies and see uh, when and why do we need ethics. Okay. Case study number 1. So I give you a scenario, and we'll take a scenario and then we will see that what are the possible ethical or unethical conditions in the scenario. So let's say you are in a decision-making position in a company, and company wants to buy some equipment. Now, as an engineer, we know that we will be working with different organizations like public sector or private sector organizations, and we might be working with clients or contractors or consultant. And in any role, we might have to, and it's very likely that we have to buy some equipments. Okay, so that's the condition, and the contract will be awarded to the supplier offering lowest price. So whenever we want to buy something that has a financial worth of more than certain value, then we ask for quotations or bids from different suppliers, and the supplier with the lowest bid gets the contract. Let's say you get three suppliers submit the financial proposals. Supplier 1, 2 million, supplier 2, 1.9 million, and supplier 3, 2.1 million. These are the three bids that you get. What is the ethical decision? Which company should get the award? Which supplier should get the award?
Nasir Ahmed.
Nasir. Okay, Nasir. So why should supplier number 2 get the award?
Because sir, he is offering the lowest price.
He's offering the lowest price, and that's the rule. Whoever offers the lowest price, he gets the contract. And here we are assuming that all the three suppliers are providing equipment with the same quality, and that is up to the mark, up to the required quality of the equipment. So that's our assumption. Supplier 2 should get the award. What can be the possible unethical situations here, in your opinion? Like anyone, what do you think? Have you ever heard about these things? That how things are manipulated in some of the cases? Gigi?
The supplier number two might not be selling the standard equipments.
Okay, then what?
Then what? Then we need to compare the suppliers, that which supplier is giving us the most authentic or good equipments.
Okay, so basically that might be the fault on the end of supplier. But if we talk about ourselves, we are in the decision-making position. What unethical things can be done by the person who is at the decision-making position?
That's he
Sir, he may
in
fall a prey to temptation.
Okay, just let Nasir just complete your point, and then we'll come to Jahangir. Ji Nasir.
that's in the greed of his reward, he might not check the all of the equipment supplied by the suppliers. Then he just go to the supplier number two for the lowest price.
Supplier. Okay, okay. Jahangir.
Sir, he may fall a prey to temptation.
What kind of temptation?
Sir, even though the supplier with the higher price may not have standard quotations and material properties, but they can offer temptation to him.
Oh, you mean like bribe? So you're saying that supplier number 1 or supplier number 3 might offer bribe, and then the contract might be awarded to them. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, Aniza, did you want to say something? Because your mic was unmute.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I was saying, sir, that it might be possible that in the beginning we decide that we will go for supplier two, but later on our personal relation basis or personal concerns or anything that is more attractive, we change our decision and give the contract to some other contractor. So that would be an ethical behavior on the end towards our end.
Okay, that's right. That's right. So there are multiple ways of manipulating the situation, and there are multiple ways in which we can try to get benefit of our try to in which we can try to manipulate the situation for our own benefit, and all such solutions are unethical solutions. Now let me uh, share some of those situations with you guys. Okay. Scenario number 1, like, okay, this I have already shown. Unethical decision number 1 that you might um, take in when we are in a decision-making position. Supplier 1 is, let's say, your friend, but he is not the lowest bidder, uh, and you want to award the contract to him. Then how can you manipulate the situation? You award the contract to supplier number 1, giving the reason that the quality of equipment provided by the lowest supplier will not be good. Like, although in reality, the quality of material provided by all the suppliers is same, but still, because you are at a decision-making position and you want to manipulate the situation for the benefit of your friend, that then you say that, okay, supplier number 2, although he is the lowest bidder, but the quality of his material is not good, equipment is not good, so you won't award him the contract, and you award the contract to supplier number 1. You are at the topmost position and nobody can challenge your decision. And what wrong did we do in this situation? This type of wrongdoing is termed as nepotism. Nepotism is favoring our relatives or friends. So that's the unethical activity here is nepotism. Okay, then there is another scenario of unethical decision, and that is you have a friend who can supply the same equipment, but he did not submit the proposal. What you do, you call him and reveal that the lowest proposal is 1.9 million, and your friend submits a proposal worth 1.8 million and you award the contract to him. So what you actually did, you revealed a confidential information that you were not supposed to reveal for the benefit of your friend. And now somebody say that, oh, with this activity, your company saved zero point 0.1 million and your friend got the project. So it's a kind of win-win situation. But this decision was unethical. It was wrong because somebody else had it was somebody else's right to get that contract, but you manipulated the situation and you disclosed the information that you were not supposed to disclose, and you benefited your friend. So that's unethical decision number two. Another possibility of unethical decision is that you contact a random supplier. That none of your friends or family members can do this thing, but you contact a random supplier and you ask him to submit a proposal of 1.8 million. That okay, submit this proposal, and this is the quote. If you give this quote, you will surely get the contract, right? And you award the contract to this company and receive a commission. Now, commission is another common term that is used in the industry, and that's a kind of bribe or illegal money, but commission is more like a respectable word for that. Uh, and again, somebody may say that, oh, the company saved 100,000 rupees and I made money out of it. So it's a win-win situation. But again, you made an unethical decision because you were not supposed to make money out of it. So the wrongdoing, what happened in this case was disclosure of information and making illegal money. And then there is another scenario, a fourth unethical decision, and that people actually practice several times. That you make your own company. You are at a decision-making position in a company, and you know that you will have to buy a lot of equipment several times. So you register your own supplying company in the name of your brother, your son, your husband, or your wife, like any close relative. And then your company submits the lowest proposal because you have all the information and you are at the position who will be taking the decision. You award the contract to your own company, and no one loses anything. You might be working as per the standard, but even then, this is an unethical situation. And what is wrong in this? Manipulating the power of your position for your own benefit. So, as if we are in a powerful position, we are not supposed to manipulate the situation or manipulate the power of our position for our own benefit. So these were different unethical scenarios in this case study. So anybody having any question about this or any comments about this or any other scenario that you might think? Anybody have any question or comments about this?
Sir, forcefully your
Ji.
decision has been altered.
Sorry, what did you mean? I didn't get your point.
सर फोर्सफुली आपके डिसीजन को ऑल्टर करवाया जाए.
I mean, that's again, sometimes it is hard to bear the pressure when you are in a decision-making position. Practically, it happens. You have to face a lot of pressure, and it happens that people change their opinions or make their decision under pressure. Uh, but even then, at the end, the wrongdoing is wrong. Like this is if you are uh, involved in an unethical practice, the reasons might be different, but still that will remain unethical or wrong, right? Sometimes you might not want to do anything wrong, but whenever you have any authority or you are at a decision making position, you have to face those pressures. And it happens practically, although it is difficult, but you are supposed to face that pressure. And if you don't, um, and if you make an unethical decision under pressure, even then it will remain unethical. Okay, you might expect a शायद अल्लाह ताला आपके लिए ज़्यादा उसको जब evaluate कर रहा है तो he might consider कि आपने खुद से कोई भी अगर आपने गलत काम किया है तो आपने क्या वो खुद से किया है अपनी इंटेंशन से या किसी प्रेशर में, तो वो उस बारे में I can't comment on that. लेकिन as far as this world is concerned, जो काम गलत है at the end वो गलत ही रहेगा. Okay, any other question or comment? Okay, with this, I want to give you guys an assignment. Your assignment would be like, as professionals, as engineers, we work in 3 different capacities. We work with either client, contractor, or consultant. Okay, and in every role, we have to make a lot of decisions. For example, buying certain things or selling certain things. And in these situations in our professional life, when we make decisions, we come across situation where we have to choose between ethical and unethical situations or decisions. What I want you guys to do, each one of you, that you contract any one of these organizations, either consultant or contractor uh, or a client, and then you ask that organization about the unethical practices of the other 2 organizations. Okay, so if you, let's say, contact a client, like I mean you contact any person who is working with a client, and then you ask him or her about the unethical practices of consultants and contractors. And let's say you contact a consultant, then you will ask about the unethical practices of clients and contractors. And third scenario is you reach out to contractor, and you will ask him about the unethical practices of consultants and clients. So that is your task in this assignment. You will compile those unethical practices, and I don't need like a long report, just 1 to 2 pages. So you need to write down 1 to 2 pages in which you will highlight, and in the form of numbers or in the form of bullets, you will mention the unethical practices that these organizations do in their professional life. Okay, and for this you may contact like any senior or any connection of yours working in any one of these organizations. So I want you guys to compile a report on that, just 1 to 2 pages. And in our next meeting, we will be talking about your assignments, like whatever information you have gathered, we will talk about that. Okay, we'll discuss different ethical and unethical scenarios. And the way of your submission would be that you will, our class is on Monday. So by Sunday night, 12 a.m. Sunday, you will submit your homework to your CR. CR, are you there? Are you in your class? In the class?
Yes, sir.
क्या नाम है आपका CR?
Muhammad Jawad.
Jawad. Okay. Jawad. Okay, Jawad. So everybody will be sending you the homework. You will put those assignments in a folder, zip it, and email it to me. Okay.
Yes.
And
Okay.
I want to receive that before the class so that during the class we will be discussing your homework problems. Whatever ethical and unethical practices you guys have gathered, we'll talk about that. Okay.
Sir,
So,
Okay.
G,
sir,
Yes, sir.
is it
G Nasir.
necessary that the company would be a construction company?
Preferable like consultant, contractor, or client. Okay. And if you like, okay, because although I really want you to contact any one of these three companies, but as the subject is professional ethics, so okay, I give you this liberty that you can contact other companies as well. आप
Okay,
दूसरी
sir.
कंपनी से भी रब्ता कर सकते हैं, ठीक है, ताकि
Okay, sir.
हमें थोड़ा सा एक मिक्स्ड ओपिनियन हमें मिल जाए. ओके.
Okay, sir.
वो असाइनमेंट जो मैंने ड्राफ्ट की है मैं पोस्ट भी कर दूंगा. इन दैट असाइनमेंट आई हैव मेंशन्ड अबाउट कॉन्ट्रैक्टर, कंसल्टेंट और क्लाइंट, but as you pointed this thing out, so I can give you this liberty. Okay. Okay. Any other question? अच्छा, जवाब क्लास के बाद आप अपना कांटेक्ट नंबर मुझे मैसेज करेंगे. ओके, यही टीम्स पे मैसेज कर दें.
सर काइंडली दोबारा बता रहे हैं, वो वॉइस लैग कर गई थी.
ओके. क्लास के बाद आप टीम्स पे मुझे अपना नंबर, कांटेक्ट नंबर मैसेज कर दें.
ओके सर.
Okay. All right. Any other question, guys? Or any other thing that you want to point out? Okay. If there is nothing else, then we can conclude our meeting here. But before that, let me mark your attendance. Okay. 34 attendees. All right, guys. So we'll conclude our meeting here. See you guys in next class, and don't forget to submit your assignment in time. We will be discussing your assignment problems in the next meeting, inshallah. Okay. Allah Hafiz.